All right, time for a weekly outlook. I know it's a little late, but let's get started. Well, not too much has changed, right? In terms of larger time frame picture. Last week we talked about this balance that we broke out of. Right, with these couple of sessions, then we went to another short-term balance, and then this was last week. Kind of started to break down, sort of trading back towards that prior balance high. We caught the longs off of 27, right? We discussed the possibility of starting some potential longs off of like 5800 because the value of this balance started right around there, right? But I waited till we got over 27 to sort of put on that heavy size to try to take it back up to some levels up here. Although we didn't end up seeing the ultimate target. The idea was there. So, the context really hasn't changed, right? We got out of this balance, went into another short-term balance here, kind of broke down from it, reclaimed it, but then like Friday, like completely just sold us off back below that balance low. Um, but I do like the retest we got here and bid off of it, right? Now it's just a matter of, okay, what do we do up against this candle, right? Pretty massive gap up and close down. So, we could call this like maybe another balance up here. I'm just gonna, yeah, I think that's what I'll end up doing eventually. Just call this another balance, but we will see. But the idea is, can we stay above this prior balance high, preferably above this 50 mark, this 5850. A reason being, you have your, let me move this around. Not this profile, but last week's profile starting Monday, right? We have that shelf there. Starting at around 50, right? So that's gonna be like the first big downside pivot. I know we closed below it, but we gapped up. Right, so we have prior balance low right around 50. You have that value that starts picking up at around 50. So, we're going to treat this as a double distribution, meaning, we kind of just wait to see like which one do we accept to do. When I say that, we kind of just want to focus on the extremes. Extremes, I say extremes, it's a little hard. There aren't any distinct shelves up here. The 50, yeah, helps distinguish this lower one, right? At least the start of this lower one. The upper one kind of hard, right? Maybe we go to the TPO to sort of see any other levels. But that's the idea, right? Which balance can we accept into? At least that, right? And then just remember that the prior week we had value, most of it built up here, right? So that 80s level in the 80s there is also gonna sort of be important. We'll go down to the TPO here to sort of dig down a little deeper, sort of. All right, so we have that level at 50, close enough to prior balance lows. And then if we do a composite of just last week's profile, right, you see that shelf there. And then, big upside levels starts at around that 86, 88. That's it. That's simply just this balance, right? This 5-day balance, 6-day balance. That's sort of where that value starts kicking in. And I was surprised we couldn't make it back up to the 59.10s on Friday. We reclaimed it, failed early, and that was the end of that, right? So on Friday, you got a double distribution, which we can sort of use to help us, I guess, play the larger time frame idea of, if we can stay above this upper distribution of Friday, okay, looks great for buyers. So far, it looks great, right? We're spending most of the time above. 74 is acting as a decent pivot for at least Globex, but we're not really going anywhere. 50 levels not that much lower. Although the settle's a little lower, so I don't know if I'd be limit long 50, but I'd be patient and wait. If you're gonna trade 50, you might as well fill the gap. That's like gonna be like 5 points lower, right? At least the Sunday gap. I treat those a little more differently than regular uh, session gaps, right? Or when we don't true gap. Um, I know some people wait for like the session close, their session settle gap, but I don't really pay attention to those too much. except for when it's on Sunday, right? When it gets created Sunday. So with that bigger picture idea, let's do a composite up here. A little, really, you could say you have a little bit of excess here, but I would like to see us sort of complete this profile. Right, I'm missing a little bit up here if we are to do a composite of the last 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. Right, so if we start, that's like the upside idea, but we start finding acceptance back above 50. I don't know if I want to be bid here or here again, because we already played that like twice, right? We played it this instance and we played it this instance. Well, I didn't get long here. I waited for the reclaim at 27. So I don't, maybe 27 gives us a stronger bid, like exactly at 27. Let's see if that ends up becoming any session. No, so we don't really have a session. You'd be risking this, we'd kind of be losing the pattern of higher lows. So maybe we don't blind bid there. So I'm kind of hesitant being blind bid, right? Where I previously would have been, where I would have liked to get bid. So, I'm a little worried for what potentially happens if we find acceptance below 50, and I'd be willing to just wait for 50 to be reclaimed. Typically I'm really confident on my dip buys this week. If we trade below 50, I'm not too sure. So I don't really have a plan for that right now. Maybe we see a session close, a couple sessions close, and we can sort of use the context of those sessions to help us decide what we want to do the next session. But right now, below 50, I think I step away. Really nothing for me to do as a dip buyer, right? Main target would, I want to say be aggressive on shorts if we find acceptance below 50, but you just take it level to level, right? We're seeing too much sideways action right now to where like maybe you catch balance low to balance high, if that. Some of these rotations like don't even take you to the extremes. So tough market to play. I've been taking it level to level. If I'm bid somewhere, I'm taking it off at the next level unless I absolutely love a play, right? Like last week, we sort of knew this play was coming because we had said our big play is going to be if this or this bids and we can reclaim 27 or 50. That's when we chuck on size, right? So we reclaim 27 and I throw in 25 lots to swing. Pretty big size for me. So we took like, I want to say like a third of it off up into here. I didn't see my full target, which is a little bit of a bummer, but I'm not seeing anything like that with this stuff down here, right? Because first off, I don't want to be bid again, at least blindly. Maybe you can wait for reaction, but you've got somewhat of a weak reference point now with these two tests. At that point, okay, you're risking accepting back into this value, right? If that's the case, just wait till at least this, maybe even balance low, right? And likely goes to see this shelf here. There's really nothing here until this balance low. Maybe you get an intraday reaction off of it, but I'm not looking for. I'm not going to be bid down here to say we're going to trade all-time highs, right? I can't say that, right? When this scenario happened, right? I said when we reclaim this, I can shoot for all-time highs, and I think that's valid, right? Well, it didn't happen. You saw the possibility of it happening. But I just don't see a play like that. So just take that as a warning if you're a dip buyer or if you're a bull like me. I just step away and I won't get involved. NQ, okay, that was a little long, but NQ, similar story, a little different structure, right? They never really broke out of the balance. You had a day or two where we traded above this balance high, right, and then failed early. I just tested these highs again. Just could not find any form of acceptance above 500. More specifically, it was like 530 or like 560. but basically one main distribution up here. So 500's gonna be a big level. We closed under it, which looks like a hideous close, right? You see all this rejection here, 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 and you get that to top it off. But looks like we're gapping up on some geopolitical stuff. So we had swung long 480, right? Because 480 to 500, because we traded back down there. I was like, why not? Let's put on some light longs off of 500, right? Because we knew that level. If we split up these profiles, right, you'll see sort of what I'm talking about. Right, we just have not been able to accept above this 500. Intraday, yes, you do get some pops that are playable. Not saying they're not, but this was sort of that first time we got a big move off of it. We opened right at it, flew, traded back to it, now popping back a little bit. So I like it for now. I'd like it even better if we can trade over 665, which is sort of a shelf there on Friday, shelf on the composite. Excess this previous session high here. So I'd like to see some value built above it, or if we can start seeing something intraday that we like at it, I'd like to get long, right? Regardless of what happens, whether it fails again, who cares? We'll be taking our trims into some highs and some levels. So we don't quite know how it's going to shape out, but let's say we do trade above this and dilly down or whatever it may be. You fail this, I'd be careful, right? When we reclaim levels and get going, especially if we gap up and get over levels, I want to pay attention to the first level you're going to come in contact with, right? That you want to hold. In this case, it's just this composite, the shelf on the composite. Maybe you can give it down a point of control, or the high volume node here, sort of high volume node overnight. But I'd like it to be bid here, and if we're simply looking at Friday's profile here, you have a double distribution here, and the idea is to be bid on a pullback to 564, right? Let's say we don't find acceptance below. That's sort of where I want to look for a trade back up to the upper distribution, right? But we can look for that on the first test. 500, I know it's the key pivot I have. I would just wait for this gap for this. So Friday we settled a little lower. It was like 480 or 470 something that we settled at. Sunday gaps, I would just wait for it to fill if you're going to trade 500. You might as well just wait that 25 points. Just wait for it to reclaim 500 to get long. So that's really all I have. I'm not really trying to dip by lower, like I said. Below 500 is trouble, right? If we just take all these previous little profiles here. All right, all of these, make it into a composite. You got one big distribution here. And could you argue that it's sort of two with this? Yes. And maybe look for some kind of opportunity back down that composite shelf, right, at 250s, 270s. Although it's become a little weaker each and every time we test it. Let's say this, yeah, we'll call this one balance for now. Big area of value, right? The idea is you accept below 500 and you go test lows. Right, there's no real significant point of control I'm seeing that we can bid off of. So the concept is, accept into value, trade to the opposite end of value, right? Which in this case takes us back down into this region. We saw the bid off of the 080s last week. Maybe you find a bit off of point of control, this high volume node here on this composite, but I can't be long here, or like, let's say here and here, and say we're gonna go see new all-time highs. Yes, if it reclaims 500, I like it again, right? I would like to make that call back up to all-time highs, but we have to work with what we're given. Okay. So we keep taking it day by day. The more profiles we get, the more context we get, right? And helps us out. So that's really all I got. A lot of little nuances that I don't even know if I could get all of them off, but hopefully it helps explain some of the outlooks. Because sometimes I just can't put them into words like what I like am seeing, or I can't type it out, or I don't want to type it out. Right. So we will see what happens with ES and NQ. YM R2 I'm really not interested in playing. R2I there's one play I might look for. As if it trades 21.95, I might just be bid there. To just continue that pattern of higher lows. If it doesn't trade down into there and it trades 260s first, I'd be careful. Right, you got your shelf on the composite there, you got a set of singles here. I would be careful into that. Right, maybe look for a push down into this. Because this is where I want to really get long or look for long. Right, whether it's a look below and fail or bounce or bids right off of it, I'm going to look for it here. So, in R2I, I really only play like once a week, twice a week, and it's something I need to really like, right? Like the last 2 weeks, we had 2 plays in R2I. One was a bit off of 21.85, right? Take it back up to here. Well, I only took it up to here, but I ended up trading all the way up here. And then last week was a bit off of 22.77. Like I said, I like once we get over levels, I like to be bid the first big significant level, which was this, and we didn't. So I just called it a week on R2I after that. But yeah, this is sort of that one play on R2I I'm looking for potentially. Other than that, nothing. YM I'm not playing. Equities, not really looking for anything new. I got positioned in some things last week, as you all know. Snow, Charter, Campari. And we're already long Nvidia, Microsoft, with some. What was it? I think we have some Decembers and some for next June. So we'll see how that plays out. Nothing new I'm looking at. Nothing I like love, right? Except for the ones we got in last week. Snow looks okay. Could look better. This is like the one place I want to be bid snow. The only place. Charter we got bid on Monday, right? Is it traded down into this VWAP? Doing decent, except it's down 2.5%. On what? I'll find out at the open. This one's a European name, but doing decent off the lows. Nothing else really on my radar. Just keep holding those positions for me. I don't think I'm looking for anything drastic. We got an ASML after that dump. But they're not really doing much off of it, are they? Yeah, nothing else that is really sticking out to me. At least, that's plays that are in my playbook. I don't like buying breakouts, so some of these names, although they look great, my opportunity is long gone. But that wraps up the outlook. So hope you all have a great trading week.